Good afternoon, and thanks to LSI for having VitalConnect here. I'm Peter Van Hour. It's a pleasure to present for the next 8 minutes the 10-year history of VitalConnect, so I'll try to do my best here and look forward to meeting with many of you in the breakout session immediately to follow. About 10 years ago, 2011, a very prominent physician, Dr. New, reached out to a world-known semiconductor chip expert with the thesis and the idea that the observational capabilities of an intensive care unit could be miniaturized down to a Band-Aid sized biosensor and bring that ICU experience to the comfort of one patient's home. And 10 years later, here we have the VitalConnect VitalPatch, which is processed through the VitalConnect Vista solution. So what our technology does is essentially takes a VitalCore processor, and we house that VitalCore processor inside this wearable biosensor. And it has the capability of monitoring for heart rate variability, respiratory rate, the body's core temperature, as if they have a thermometer in their mouth. We're monitoring the patient's posture, whether they're sitting up, lying down. Behind that posture detection, we have a very high-powered algorithm that's watching for falls. So we detect patients if they have a fall event, which is unfortunately all too common in the long-term care as well as the home setting. We monitor the patient's movement in the form of steps, and those that know and are familiar with the heart failure community, the magic number is 3,500 steps. If we can have those patients over 3,500 steps, it produces a better outcome for these patients as they're rehabbing and going through their process. The crown jewel of the technology is the live streaming ECG. So you see this live streaming ECG on the board here, and behind that is a high-powered algorithm that actually sits on the biosensor that detects up to 21 different arrhythmias. We combine all of this information, and we send this information to the cloud. Within the cloud, we have multiple algorithms and AI that drive what's known as early warning scores. And we're able to provide physicians predictive analytics and provide to them actionable insights so we can pick up on early signs of deterioration and intercept that patient before that deterioration gets to the point where they need a hospitalization. The technology really consists of 3 areas. Number 1 is that VitalCore processor. This is what makes our company different than any other wearable out there. Nursi Nazari, who is the executive chairman and the founder of the company, has a long storied history where he led technology for Marvell and had a very successful exit in the 90s. He personally built and invented this chip. It wasn't able to be done back in 2011 because the power necessary to stream these vitals would draw down the battery in about 3 hours. We now have the capability to live stream all of this data for a period of 7 days off of one battery life. And that 7 days is about the time that physicians and other healthcare providers will tell you is the right amount of time for a wear period. The technology also is housed in this biosensor and then is on the chest of the patient, as I mentioned, sends the information to the cloud, which is where the algorithms are utilizing that information to provide diagnoses and predictive analytics, actionable insights for the physicians. We've done a nice job over the 10 years in patenting this technology. We have about 130 intellectual properties, and you can see where they stand. The majority of these are with our algorithms. And then we have 16 in the Vista solution, that's our software. We have 17 on the VitalPatch itself. The Bluetooth connection actually has 3 patents. We have 10 FDA clearances, and we're CE marked to sell the technology outside of the US. I've been in med device for over 20 years. I can tell you that 1 FDA clearance is a feat and is difficult. We've been able to generate 10, and an additional CE mark for outside the US commercial ability. I've taken this technology and I've looked across the span of the market, and I've said, where should we be focused? And there's 4 markets that we're focused, and we're commercial in all 4 today. And all 4 of these markets have really 3 underlying or guiding principles. Number 1, the market needs to be large and expanding. Number 2, our technology needs to be differentiated or potentially even meet an unmet need. And number 3, you have to have the ability to monetize the business. Is there a value proposition that makes sense to the healthcare community? Or is there a reimbursement code that will pay for this technology? There's been a lot of technologies that are launched which serve a great need, but if you cannot monetize it through a value proposition or reimbursement code, oftentimes these technologies fail. The cardiac monitoring business, and I'm happy to go into much more detail in our breakout, the cardiac monitoring business is monitoring just that. We're competing with the iRhythms, BioTels, Preventis, Bardies. We're monitoring patients for arrhythmias. They go into the physician's office, go to the hospital, they're discharged with our technology. We pick up on arrhythmias or abnormal heart rates or heart beats. We send that data back to the physician so they can make a clinical determination. We have level 1 national coverage for our mobile cardiac telemetry business. And in fact, today, we launched mobile cardiac telemetry in the United States. The first 2 patients were patched in Florida today on our mobile cardiac telemetry platform, which means we're in the Holter, extended Holter, event recorder, and now mobile cardiac telemetry market. We span across all 4 areas of cardiac care. We have a Tier 1 national reimbursement code, an MCT, and we're approved through Noridian, which is our local MAC in Santa Clara County, to bill for extended wear Holter in the extended Holter space as well. The clinical trials and research market, these are really working with large pharmaceutical companies as well as large medtech device companies. And what we do is we monitor patients in the clinical trials, looking at the baseline of their vitals and how that clinical drug or that new device is influencing the vital signs of these patients. Large household names like Pfizer, Takeda, Eli Lilly, et cetera, are using our technology to demonstrate the efficacy of these new trial drugs that they're ultimately bringing to the market. The inpatient expansion in the hospital at home is a unique market. In fact, this is where I think we have an unmet need, where we're filling a void and an unmet need. We are the only, to my knowledge, device that is capable of monitoring a patient in the hospital and then discharging the patient with the same device on their chest into the hospital at home market. This reduces costs to the hospital because you can discharge earlier, and it keeps the patients tethered to the healthcare system, which allows you to maintain the presence of monitoring of that patient to capture any signs of deterioration and, quite frankly, not lose the patient to a competing hospital or to a competing network. The largest shift in the healthcare system today that I'm seeing is the hospital at home care. In 2020, there were 7 hospitals that provided this as a service line. That was in November. As of today, there are 116 hospitals, 59 healthcare systems, and 29 states that are offering a hospital at home service line. Why is that? The DRGs that previously were not able to be reimbursed in the home have now opened, and you can discharge a patient and receive reimbursement in the comfort of that patient's home. CMS is pushing patients to the comfort of their home and pushing them out of the hospital. I submit to you that VitalConnect is uniquely positioned to provide this care based on the comprehensive and sophisticated nature of the technology. My 8 minutes is up. If anybody would like to speak in more detail, I'll be in the breakout session, and I look forward to speaking with you. Thank you.